You want me to put that on my todger?
Harry's wife. Her ex-boyfriends. Narcissists invariably have a long list of exes. Often these are that list of former intimate partner primary sources, the ex-spouse, the ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend, as a consequence of the fact that the narcissist has a difficulty in sustaining relationships, sometimes because the victim escapes them, but more usually because the narcissist jettisons the individual and moves on to somebody else post-haste. There are, of course, plenty of other individuals who might not have achieved the status of becoming a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner, and have basically used in the shelving dynamic as the intimate partner secondary source, namely an occasional shag, a booty call, a mistress, the other man, the other woman, etc. Somatic and elite narcissists are the ones which have the longest lists because they utilize relationships with the higher turnover and, of course, utilize sex as a major weapon of seduction. All narcissists, of course, are capable of cheating, but it is the somatic and the elite which will invariably do so in a physical or sexual manner. Narcissists have this long list of exes because of the necessity of change. Invariably, a disengagement trigger occurs, resulting in the narcissist shipping that individual out, and then the necessity of the narcissist having a new intimate partner primary source. The narcissist needs a new intimate partner primary source because that's the most effective way for the narcissist to achieve the prime aims. Of course, the narcissist will look to obtain the prime aims from everybody they are involved with, but in the same way that you do most of your food shopping in one place rather than through 100 different stores, the narcissist wants one person who is easy to control, who provides most of the fuel, who provides most of the character traits and residual benefits. And in the circumstances, that means that one person is selected. One person, of course, is easier to control than 100. Accordingly, one person becomes the intimate partner primary source, but invariably they fail in some way. The failure, of course, is the perception of the narcissist, which results in them being jettisoned and then replaced because there is the need, again, to get those prime aims chiefly from one person. If you'd like to understand more about the constitution of the narcissist fuel matrix, you would do no better than to read my book, Pipelines, and also Understanding Changes to the Fuel Matrix, which explains to you, first of all, how different narcissists have their fuel matrix constituted, and then what happens when changes occur. It's fascinating material, and you can find that material in the Knowledge Vault. But what about Harry's wife? Well, an article by Epic Stream touches upon her ex-boyfriends, posing the question, who did the Duchess of Sussex date before Prince Harry? The article by Jonalyn Cortez commences by explaining that Prince Harry's dating life was an open book. Thanks to the British media, everybody knows whom he dated, from Chelsea Davy to Cressida Bonas. But what about his wife, Harry's wife? Harry's wife was once married and divorced, but who are the other men in her life? Sean Zakin. A list by The Sun noted that the former actress had a 6-month relationship with Sean Zakin, a comedy writer, producer and actor, in 2003. The two met at Northwestern University in Chicago and dreamed of making it big in Hollywood, often joining audition lines together. Zakin was seen on Mystery Girls, Nail Files, and made a cameo appearance in Sex and the City. It's not clear from this information whether he escaped her or whether she disengaged from him. But it was only a short relationship of 6 months, meaning a short golden period, before devaluation kicked in very quickly and disengagement followed thereafter. This is highly likely to be the case that if she was the one that disengaged from him, that he proved too difficult to control. Steve Lepore is listed next. Harry's wife also had a 5-month relationship with the college basketball star Steve Lepore while still at the university. The brief romance ended after Lepore moved to North Carolina for college. Assuming, therefore, that he had the status of intimate partner primary source, it was broken off, it would seem, essentially because he escaped her and proved too difficult to control thereafter, because he moved to North Carolina, and therefore the distance wasn't worth covering in order to continue to assert control over him. Brett Ryland. The Duchess of Sussex also had a 5-month relationship with fellow actor Brett Ryland. She reportedly ended their romance. Again, this is a short period. Some relationships with narcissists can last decades. This doesn't mean that it's a successful relationship, far from it. What it means is that the relationship has a golden period, which is somewhere between 6 to 18 months, sometimes a bit less, sometimes a little more, and then enters sustained devaluation. And thereafter, it can last until death, if there's no escape or no disengagement. You have the roller coaster relationship of the up and the down, with devaluation, respite period, devaluation, respite period, until either there is escape, disengagement, or if neither of those two things happen, then the relationship continues until death. Interestingly, 3 relationships have been mentioned here, and none of them got beyond 6 months. Next up, Trevor Engelson. The longest relationship the former Suits star had before marrying Prince Harry was with her ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, a film producer. The ex-couple met in 2004 and dated for 6 years before they got engaged in 2010. They eventually tied the knot in 2011, but parted ways in 2013. Here, there will have been again a shortish golden period, and the necessity of engagement will have been that her narcissism indicated that that was the most appropriate way for her to keep control over him, and thus they became engaged and then married. But it didn't last thereafter, because as we know, she disengaged from him, sending him the rings back. Essentially, it would appear that there was probably somebody else on the horizon, and she therefore shifted him out and somebody else in. Corey Vitiello. Harry's wife's last dating partner was the Canadian chef Corey Vitiello. The two reportedly dated in 2014 and were together for a couple of years. Back then, rumours had it that they were engaged, though it wasn't confirmed. The Daily Mail claimed that they moved into a townhouse under the name Harry's wife Engelson. Their house was said to be near a park where they walked Harry's wife's dogs, Guy and Bogart, together. Come 2016, they called it quits, which reportedly happened 2 months before she met Prince Harry, although, of course, as you know from further evidence, this appears to have been doctored, and rather there was a crossover whereby she was already seeing Harry when she was still seeing Corey the chef, which is unsurprising, and he was disengaged from as a consequence of she finding a better prospect, from her perspective, in Prince Harry. Therefore, Corey was out and Prince Harry was in. Now, for a woman who is 41 years old, this is a rather short list, as it only contains 5 names, 6 if you include Prince Harry. For a narcissist, that isn't a lot of relationships. Of course, there's rumoured to be the first marriage that was annulled. There's also the flirtation that went on with the ice hockey star, who then backed off when he realised she was already with somebody. There will undoubtedly be further relationships beyond this. Whether they were ex-boyfriends, i.e. intimate partner primary sources, it's quite possible that there are, but they just haven't been dug up, possibly because they were short-lived. It is interesting to note that the first 3 relationships didn't get beyond 6 months. This may well be as a consequence of the fact that Harry's wife would find these individuals difficult to control, and also because of the grasping nature of her narcissism, that she was always looking to trade up, that very much they were seen as stepping stones, with short golden periods, and once they were in devaluation, she moved quickly to disengagement as she found somebody else thereafter. There, of course, is also the rumour that she had an affair whilst in Buenos Aires and purportedly became pregnant whilst there. There will undoubtedly, of course, have been numerous flings, and of course there is the suggestion of various liaisons as a consequence of the rumour that she was a yacht girl at some point. Undoubtedly, she will have had a lot of sexual partners. Her cadre is somatic. That means that, amongst other things, somatic narcissists are individuals that are driven by appearance. Looks are very important to them. The shiny things, jewellery, clothing, how big your house is, what your car looks like, being seen in certain places, being seen at the best restaurants in town, going out a lot, and of course, sex. Sex is a big thing for somatic narcissists. They're invariably hypersexualized and invariably utilize sex as a means to control people. Accordingly, we know, for instance, that Harry's wife has thrown plenty of spicy poontang at Prince Harry. After all, he said she lets you do anything. But moreover, there are plenty of rumours about her sexual behaviours in the past, and a list of those that she's had sexual congress with will be far longer than this list contained within Epic Stream. That is the way of the narcissist. There's bound to be more names, both in terms of more ex-boyfriends, but also just sexual partners generally. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.